Hi, I'm Mr. America Shad is in here with one other episode of Dark Theory USA. And with you guys, we're going to talk about the President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel. They had a conference. I think Prime Minister Netanyahu is the first leader of world that was invited to the White House, the first one in his second term. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the first country that Trump traveled to in his first term was Saudi Arabia, and then they made a big deal, and financial was. So they deal to purchase so many things, so many jets and weapons from United States. And this time it was Netanyahu was the first one who was invited to the White House in his Trump second term. So it could mean so many things. Of course, it could be symbolic, like the alliance between United States and Israel. But also, I think it was a sign because President Trump, actually this administration, for the first time in years, I guess, since I think for decades, United States in the UN, if I'm not mistaken, didn't mention about the human rights. That was the problem with the human rights in Iran. So always America advocated for human rights in Iran and mentioned the problems that exist inside the Iran with the people and government. But this time was the first time they didn't talk about that. And also with the first 300 executive order that President Trump signed, none of them was about Iran. But normal, like if in his first term, I guess, getting out of the, he didn't come out of the nuclear deal that Obama had with Iran. He came after a few weeks or months, but definitely he came with the maximum pressure policy, but with Iran, but he didn't do that since his inauguration up to yesterday, 2 days ago, when he had meeting with Netanyahu. I think that was the message, like a full package of messages, which besides the symbolic idea, like, okay, greatest ally, blah blah blah. I think that was the reason. That was something like they wanted to send a message to the world, to their targets or their friends or enemies, like, this is how we want to handle the situation in Middle East, because it's not only about the Palestine and Israel, it's about the countries around that in whole Middle East, like Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, all those countries. And of course, not to mention Iran as well. But what he was trying to do was like to send a full message, full package of the messages. Hey, listen, he's in here, we're gonna solve the problems. And then on that day, after 2 weeks of not even mentioning Iran, he came with the statement. He said, like, we want to bring a maximum pressure in Iran, but this time his tone was different. And you might say, who cares about the tone? I will tell you why it matters, and it makes a difference. The first time, the way that he was talking was like, hey, I'm here to face you, Iran, like, like a bull, like, like you are going to use your horns, like a dog fight, you know what I'm saying, like a face to face. But this time he said, literally, he said, I might show it to you in his conference with next to the Netanyahu. He said, I hate to do that. I really don't want to do that. I wish I didn't need to do that. But and I do my best to make sure it doesn't go further. Like, it means it doesn't get to the conflict, like a war between Iran and United States. And I would love to have it solve it peacefully. All I'm asking is they shouldn't have the nuclear bomb. And also he mentioned that it's an easy thing to do. When he says easy thing to do, means I'm not gonna be picky, because once again, if you want to attack one country, you're looking for excuse to justify your action, to say, oh, it wasn't good enough. So no matter how many evidence they provide to you that they are not making nuclear bomb, you would say, oh, I'm not convinced. But when you say it is easy, it means just convince me. I will let you go. I will leave you alone. it means already I don't want to go to war with you. When you say it is easy, because if you were looking for the excuse to find a way in order to crack in and then start the war, you would say, show me this, and then that, and then this, and then that. Oh, it wasn't enough. Oh, I didn't like this. Oh, it's shady. You're hiding something. But when you say it is easy, just prove me that you are not making nuclear bomb. I will leave you alone. And also, like 24 hours before his meeting with Netanyahu, I think two publications. One of them was, I think, news outlet was what, New York's media or New York Post, something like that. One of them came, oh, we got the information that Iran is speeding up the process of making nuclear bomb. I mean, come on, guys, it's 2025. We are smarter than that, right? First of all, for last 20 years, they are saying like Iran is only 6 weeks away from making nuclear bomb, from 3 weeks away. Like, it has been 20 years since those. How many times 6 months, 6 weeks, 3 weeks Iran is away from nuclear bomb? How many times? I mean, are you insulting or intelligent? Every time they say, oh, they're only 3 weeks away. How many times they are 3 weeks away? And then, of course, you see like people start to talk about that, and then they say we don't believe that anymore. Like you keep saying they are 6 months away, 6 weeks away from nuclear bomb, and it has been 20 years that you have been repeating those statements. So either you are just putting on the table to scare Iran, hey, we are ready to go into war with you, like it's just something to bluff, to threaten them, like, hey, we are ready, or keep people the hype up, like people are ready for the war with Iran, so always it would be in the back of the mind, or they are just lying about that, you know. But I believe this time was different. Of course, it's not like they got to the information, the news media publication before White House. I believe White House wanted them to leak that information. As I said, that was the packages. That's why I'm saying the packages 24 hours before they say, oh, Iran is spinning up the nuclear facility, and then they come and say, oh, we want to come inside the Gaza and then take the ownership of the Gaza and rebuild that. And then it's something that even Netanyahu wasn't ready for that. And then it says, oh, I'm okay to make a deal with Iran. All I want is just to not have the nuclear bomb. And I'm pretty sure, like, he was making sure, he was promising Iran would be financially good if they just follow those instructions. So, I mean, normally people don't say, you know, like, I don't care about your financial situation, or you make a deal with me and then I'll leave you go, I'll let you go. But in that case, when it says that, like, I have the vision for Iran to be prosperous, to be rich, to have everything, it means it's more than just make a nuclear deal. It's more than what it was with Obama. And I think he was playing, he's using leverage for both sides, using Netanyahu against Iran. It says, hey, I'm going to come to the Gaza, and then I'm all friends with Netanyahu. But also, he was using Iran as a leverage with Netanyahu. Hey, I want Iran to be prosperous, to be rich, to be happy, so I don't have any problem. So it's not like I want, he already said that I hate to go to war with Iran. I wish I could stop that. And if you convince me that you don't have nuclear bomb, I promise I won't do that. So it's not like John Bolton, no matter what Iran says, no matter what Iran does, hey, let's go attack Iran. Like, you know, like John Bolton, or was the other one, ex-CIA director, the guy who was with Trump, he lost so much weight. Yeah, so the previous administration of Trump, those people who were around him, Mike Pompeo, so they want to go at war at Iran, and they just say, we don't care, we have to go. They are warmongers. But this time Trump was saying, like, I'm doing my best to not go at war, just prove me something, give me something that gives me reason to not go at war. So I find it something like double agent, or whatever you want to call it. He's a businessman. He wanted to make a deal, and then he made everyone in awe. like everyone say, what's up? Like Saudi Arabia made a statement. Jordan said like we're gonna go with war with Israel if they displace Palestinian people to the Jordan. So Jordan already said we're gonna go to war with Israel. Saudi Arabia made a statement, we won't have any normalization or any deal with Israel, any friendship, because Abraham Accord was the ultimate goal of Abraham Accord was Saudi Arabia. So until Palestine is a state, is recognized as a state, and has East Jerusalem as its own capital. So they thought like Saudi Arabia with a couple of good deals, since right now they are bringing so many celebrities over there. They want to rebuild it, change the reputation, be the like a new Europe of the world, like Middle East, and Saudi Arabia want to be the leader of that new era in Middle East. Probably everyone would say, okay, forget about the Palestine. But this statement was clear that we don't negotiate, we don't compromise that. This is what we said, this is what we say, and this is what we will say. And there is nothing that you can negotiate about this part. It's deal. Palestine should be a state because Israel doesn't want that, and East Jerusalem as a capital. So I guess Trump brought the heat into the conversation, so all the countries get involved and everyone try to their portion. Some people, they say it is 5D chess game, like he's playing 5D chess, 5-dimensional chess game. Some people, they say no, he's just trying to ask for more. He asked for 110%, so with bargain he get 100%. And some people, they say no, really he believes in what he said, but these people are very few. I mean, I'm gonna play some of the stuff that Trump said and then talk about that. What I believe his real plan is for rebuilding Gaza, because he said like Palestinian, the reason that they are staying in Palestine is not because of their land, because they don't have anywhere to go, there's no alternative. But if Jordan and Egypt, they accept that, they open their hugs for them, definitely they would go there, and then we will build that. The thing is, now it makes sense, because when United States paused all of the foreign aids to other countries, the only 3 countries were exception: Israel, Jordan, and Egypt. I think he didn't stop the funding and aid to Jordan and Egypt, so could use that leverage to say, okay, let them come in. Now let me go there and then see if you guys can see. All right. Let's go just answer.
We want to give people a chance at life. They have never had a chance at life because they want them out, and promises have been made to them.
And it's worthwhile really pursuing this island.
Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead. Right. Yeah.
So for rebuilding Gaza again, obviously all the hostages, one of them is attacks on an American soldier who was how will you take all the hostages? And then we go.
We're working very hard to get all the hostages. The word is all, and we're working very hard. So far, it's been.
So people are saying it can compromise the deal, because there were 2 phases for the PCL with Hamas. One of them was the 6 weeks. 35 hostages gonna be exchanged, and for the second 6 weeks would be other 90 people are gonna be exchanged. But if Hamas knows that there is no future for Hamas in Gaza, so Hamas would say the deal is off. So I'm dealing with you, so you take off. Because the only leverage Hamas has right now is just hostages. If there is no hostages, what is stopping United States or Israel to carpet bombing the Gaza more than what they have done?
Been moving along fairly rapidly, pretty much on schedule. It's I love them all at one time, but we're taking them out, and tomorrow more are being released, and over the days more, and then we'll go into a phase 2. But we'd like to get all of the hostages, and if we don't, it will just make us somewhat more violent. I will tell you that, because they would have broken their word. Mr. Witkoff and his entire group have been working 24 hours around the clock, and they want them out, and promises have been made to them, and we'll see whether or not those promises will be kept. But we want all the hostages. That's right.
You support Israeli sovereignty in some areas which many believe biblical homeland and Jewish people.
Well, we're discussing that with many of your representatives. You're represented very well, and people do like the idea, but we haven't taken a position on it yet. But we will be we'll be making an announcement probably on that very specific topic over the next 4 weeks.
you just said that you think all the Palestinians should be relocated to other countries. Does it mean that you do not support the two-state solution?
It doesn't mean anything about a two-state or one state or any other state. It means that we want to have, we want to give people a chance at life. They have never had a chance at life because the Gaza Strip has been.
So see, so he's not clear. For example, for the Jerusalem, when he recognized that as a capital of Israel, he was determined like what he meant, like he was honest, like he said that. But this time he said, oh, I'm not saying two state, I'm not saying one state, I'm saying why we are rebuilding it, so how about these guys go somewhere to live the good life? Because they're saying there are so many booby traps and stuff like bombs, they have to clear that. So it means United States is going to send put his soldiers' boots on basically Gaza's land.
A hellhole for people living there. It's been horrible. The Hamas has made it so bad, so dangerous, so unfair to people.
So he's not denying that there can be two-state solution.
But I'm recommending that we do. It's a very strong recommendation, but it is a strong recommendation. By doing that, we think we're going to bring perhaps great peace to long beyond this area. And I have to stress, this is not for Israel. This is for everybody in the Middle East, Arabs, Muslims. This is for everybody. This would be where they can partake in terms of jobs and living and all of the other benefits. And I think it's very important. It just doesn't work the other way. You know, you can't keep trying. It just has been going along for so many decades. You can't even count. You just can't keep doing. You have to learn from history. You can't keep doing the same mistake over and over.
So he's saying, because they have been doing that, having war with each other, going to the temporary peace deal, and again, from both countries, like from both places, Israel's more radical people, they get into power, and also in Palestine, radical people like Hamas get into power, and then they again go to the war, and again there will be bloodshed. There will be blood on ground, and people are going to hate each other more, because they said when you kill one person, it's not like you decrease the number by one, but you adding 10, because the person you killed has a family, and those family has a friend, and everyone gonna stand up for the person who died. So actually, that's why like the Anthony Blinken, the previous he was in the previous administration, he said. Secretary Blinken said, he said for every Hamas that they have been killed, all the members that have been killed, they are recruited. I don't know how he got access to that information, or why even he mentioned that, but if it is true, means every Hamas member that who died, they recruit that, which makes sense also because they don't have anywhere to go. There's no job over there. What are they gonna do? Like, there's no money, there's no job. So there's the only way that you could feed your family. So you join them. Like, one of the reasons that you see some terrible countries that are radical is not because people love violence over there, but because the country is so poor. The only way they could make money is by doing something illegal, something violence. That's why, for example, it's not like Mexican people love drugs, doing drugs. It's like because it's so poor, there's no other way to feed their family. Some people, they don't have no choice. Some people, they're greedy or whatever. I don't want to judge that, but they say, well, that's the only way I can feed my family, and then they join those group. But I think that's the case for every country. Like Lebanon, I think people, the average salary over there is $300. I guess $300 is what Hezbollah was giving them, and it was way much higher than average salary of normal civilians they were making. So in poor country, if there is money somewhere, people are gonna be attracted to that. I wish that was the way, like, people could be attracted to do something useful, something helpful to the society, not destructive. But anyway,
again, Gaza is a hellhole right now. It was before the bombing started, frankly, and we're going to give people a chance to live in
so say we have to do differently.
Community that's safe and secure.
Something different than before.
I think you're going to see tremendous outpouring of support. I can tell you, I spoke to other leaders of countries in the Middle East, and they love the idea. They say what really brings stability, and what we need is stability. Yes, sir, please. Go ahead.
Even though right now all the countries are rejecting, basically. Not only that, not only in the Middle East, China rejected, all the friends rejected, Russia rejected, everyone rejected. I think it was a very bad idea. I hope he meant like he asked for 110%, so with the bargain gets 100%. But what is 100%, we have to see.
Thank you. Are you still committed to imposing sanctions on the ICC, despite the move being stalled in the Senate? And please, a question from the Prime Minister as well. The President has been very clear about his desire to achieve a deal with Saudi Arabia. How do you settle this if Israel is required to renew the war against Hamas in the future?
Go ahead, Bibi.
I think everybody understands it, just as the President.
Oh, before he says that, he said he wants three things. One of them is taking out the Hamas from the Gaza. The second thing is he wants to bring all the hostages back. And the third thing is he makes sure it never happens again. And everything, all those conditions that he had in with Biden administration as well.
Fought and defeated Al-Qaeda and ISIS. That we can't leave Hamas there because Hamas will continue the battle to destroy Israel. They'll do, you know, when in the September ceasefire, one of the leaders comes out. You know what he said? We're going to do October 7th again, except we'll do it bigger. So obviously, you can't talk about peace, not with Hamas or in the Middle East, if this toxic, murderous organization is left standing. Any more than you could make peace in Europe after World War II, if the Nazi regime was left standing, the Nazi army was left standing. You want a different future? You got to knock out the people who want to destroy you and destroy peace. That's what we're going to do. I think that will also usher in, actually, the peace with Saudi Arabia and with others, and I think there will be others too.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
As a high expectation from you. Do we have any plan to change Afghanistan situation? Are we able to recognize Taliban? Because I'm a journalist, I'm a separate woman, and in comment about Afghanistan. What's your future plan for Afghan people, especially
I
Afghanistan?
have a little hard time understanding you. Where are you from? Oh, actually, it's a beautiful voice and a beautiful accent. The only problem is I can't understand the word you're saying.
Well, the thing is, like, look at the Netanyahu, he's laughing. Look at I mean, I think it was a little, it was funny the way he said, but it was very, a little unprofessional, because I understand, like, for them, I have accent, but people can understand me, those who know me. But those people, for the first time they hear me, probably they say, what are you talking about? That? I understand I have thick accent, it's Middle Eastern accent, but I think he could just say, can somebody translate, so can somebody say that? Like, instead of moving on to the next question from next journalist, he could have said, can you repeat your question? I mean, to be honest, to be fair to Trump, I didn't understand the first time either, but the second time, when I hear that, I understood. She asked, are you going to recognize Taliban as a country in the power? Because now it is the situation with Afghanistan is swept on the rug. There are so many Palestinians, they were hoping something would change. But to be honest, most of the Middle Eastern, especially Afghan people, they voted for Biden, the first administration. So probably if the Trump got elected on the second term, 2020, it would none of them would happen. And then Taliban wouldn't be vacuum, and Taliban take the power, seize the power, because those negotiations, those conditions that Trump put on the table for the Taliban, one of them was like, you're not gonna do what you had been doing before we got into Afghanistan. You don't kill your people, you don't kill your opponents. Like, I mean, you can keep it Islamic if you want, if your people want, but you're not gonna run it the way that. Right now, it's even more radical at some point compared to prior to 2021 when, 2001, when America attacked Afghanistan. To get the bin Laden. At that time, Afghanistan wasn't as radical as it is right now, and the reason is obvious, because right now they have more money, they have more weapons, thanks to Biden, $85 billion worth of equipment and weapons, artillery, they are inside Afghanistan. So they are like 21st strongest country, thanks to all those equipments that Biden left when they were evacuating the Afghanistan. So right now they have even more power, they have more stability, and they have more allies, because at that time they were just radical group, they were just living for themselves. Right now they have relation, even somewhat, they were about to fight with Pakistan. That's crazy. Pakistan is very strong. Like, Pakistan has American army, so just, you know, American army against American versus American equipment. I mean, our presence are everywhere, even between those two countries that they are fighting each other. But anyway, So at that time, but he wanted to make sure Afghanistan wouldn't go back to the state that it was. But with the New Deal right now that they have, basically there's no deal. Like nothing is happening right now. Like nobody's even asking questions. It was so crazy for me, all those activists, I mean so-called, I don't know, like feminists or other people, they stopped talking about the women rights in Afghanistan. Like it's very bad. Like women cannot even go to the universities. I mean it's unbelievable, really. It's unbelievable. But yeah, everyone forgot about Afghanistan. Not, right now, the hot topic is Russia, Ukraine, of course, Afghanistan, Palestine, Israel, Palestine. So she wanted to make sure like it doesn't happen. She said, for 20 years, I've been the journalist. I understand like she was passionate about her country and she wanted to make sure like it doesn't, it's not forgotten. But if Trump was a president in 2020, probably Afghanistan would be better off. So I guess, like, if I'm not mistaken, most of the Muslim and Middle Eastern voted for Biden in 2020, and this is what they got. So at this point, I don't think there's so much things you can do, because at that time, Trump had the leverage over the Taliban to make sure Taliban doesn't play game. But right now, it just left out everything, and they handed everything to Taliban. Trump didn't, Biden did, but still it counts for both. So unfortunately, I don't see that much of future for Afghanistan. I hope the situation was different. I hope that was democracy over there. They could democratically elect their government, but I don't see it's coming soon. But let's see.
But I just say this, good luck, live in peace. Go ahead, please. That's okay, yeah, please.
You said earlier today that it was tough for you to implement these sanctions on Iran, but you didn't indicate that you were willing to negotiate with them. What would that look like, and are you in conversations with
this
them?
is very important.
And same with the Prime Minister.
I hated doing it. I want Iran to be peaceful and successful. I hated doing it. I did it once before, and we brought them down to a level where they weren't able to give any money. They had to survive themselves, and they had no money. They were essentially broke. And they had no money for, as I said, Hezbollah. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for any form of terror. The 28, if you call it the 28 sites of terror, they had no money for any of it. They had to do their own and focus on their own well-being. And I hated to do it then, and I hate to do it just as much now. And I say this to Iran, who's listening very intently. I would love to be able to make a great deal, a deal where you can...
So I believe he's putting Netanyahu right now to have the leverage over the negotiation with Iran, and he's using Iran that wants to make a deal with Iran and have a not normalized relationship, but somewhat peaceful relationship with Iran, not too hateful relationship, at least let's put it in that way, to use it leverage over than Netanyahu. He's a businessman, really.
Get on with your lives, and you'll do wonderfully. You'll do wonderfully. Incredible people, industrious, beautiful, just an unbelievable group of people in Iran. And I know them well. I have many friends from Iran and many friends that are Americans from Iran, and they're very proud of Iran. But I hate to do it, just so you understand. And I hope we're going to be able to do something so that it doesn't end up in a very catastrophic situation. I don't want to see that happen. I really want to see peace, and I hope that we're able to do that. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. I'm not putting restrictions. They cannot have one thing. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. And if I think that they will have a nuclear weapon, despite what I just said, I think that's going to be very unfortunate for them. If, on the other hand, they can convince us that they won't, and I hope they can. It's very easy to do.
You see, it's very easy to do. It means I'm not here looking for excuse to keep bringing up the standard bar so you cannot meet my requirements, so I can justify my action. You know, like the mass destruction for Iraq, like they put the bar so much to say nothing can convince us, we have to attack. So it says it's easy. I want to be convinced. Just show us that. So I guess it means like this time like he said, the unfortunate thing gonna happen means I have to attack you. But it means if you show me, I'm not gonna attack. And it is good that he's using Iran and Israel against each other for the leverage to benefit Americans, and proud American, I think that benefits us. But they're putting boots on Gaza's land, bro. There is no benefit for us for that.
Actually very easy to do. I think they're going to have an unbelievable future. Yeah, please. Sir, go
on the
ahead.
Israel future. So he had a vision for that. Like he never said that about other countries that they were like negotiating, but I guess he knows that there's so much potential with Iran for investment.
You just laid out your plan for Gaza.
Yes.
Can you lay out your plan for Ukraine and also
For Ukraine.
for Ukraine? Yes. You consider yourself a strong leader. You blame your predecessor for letting Russia to take over Ukraine. Will you demand from Putin to get out of Ukraine, from southern territory of
That's
Ukraine?
what.
So we're dealing right now with the subject. I don't want to spend a lot of time because we're here for another reason, but we are having very good talks, very constructive talks on Ukraine, and we are talking to the Russians. We're talking to the Ukrainian leadership. It would have never happened. That would have never happened. It should have never happened. I get reports every week. The number of soldiers, mostly soldiers now, many of these cities look. Simple reason, the life of young people being absolutely open. So, in case usually the city, I think something. You can't let this continue. You can't stop it. We can't let this continue. It's a human tragedy, and we're going to try very hard to stop it. Yeah, please go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Mr. President, what's your view about President Abbas' role in all the regional changes you want to do? And the question to the Prime Minister, what's your view on President Trump wanting to reach a deal with Iran and not to much more active military steps?
Oh, that's good question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think the president just said something that I think is the pivot of everything that we're talking about. He said Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And we fully agree with that. If this goal can be achieved by a maximum pressure campaign, so be it. But I think the most important thing is to focus on the goal, which the president just did, and I fully agree with it.
You see, like he does. Well, without America's help, he cannot do anything, and he knows that. Like he said, like yeah, if with maximum pressure can happen. Well, okay. To be honest, to be fair, like it is Israel always has said. Like Israel never said that we want to destroy Iran. So it's just they cannot have nuclear bombs. So it's not like something new. Like he's backing out from his previous claims. But the data, I mean, you can call me conspiracy, is somehow like he really wants to do something more than just attacking nuclear facility. But he tried to avoid the clear answer, which is understandable. He doesn't want to, because everyone is playing their cards. Saudi Arabia is playing their cards. America is playing. We Americans are playing our cards. Israel, Iran, Jordan. We are all playing our cards. And just like a Panama Canal, Mexico border, Canada border, and Greenland with Denmark, like everyone is trying to use their leverage to get something. But thankfully, alhamdulillah, America is in better position we have better leverage to convince countries to come up with our condition. Thank God for that. But as long as we are fair, so I don't think anything wrong with that. But I guess right now, definitely these two men, they are thinking about totally different world. Like right now they're in here, we see like they're agreeing on everything. But when I listen to the conversation carefully, I realize that they are sending each other messages while they are talking with the reporters. That's why you can see sometimes Netanyahu gets shocked. You say, what did he say? So it means before that, prior to that, in their when they had the meeting, he didn't mention them. But he's mentioned right now in front of the journalists to send him some messages. It's interesting. Politics, man. Politics.
Well, I said it, and he said it very well. It's a campaign of pressure to see if we can get something done. He doesn't want to do what some people think will automatically happen because they're very difficult people to deal with, as you know. But if we could solve this problem without warfare, without all of the things that you've been witnessing over the last number of years, it would be. I think it would be a tremendous thing. Go ahead, please.
Do you have any plans to visit Israel?
To visit where? Oh, well, I love Israel. I will visit there, and I'll visit Gaza, and I'll visit Saudi Arabia, and I'll visit other places all over the Middle East. The Middle East is an incredible place, so vibrant, so it's just one of the really beautiful places with great people. And I think a lot of bad leadership has taken place in the Middle East that's allowed this to happen. It's just, and that includes on the American side, by the way. We should have never gotten in there a long time ago, spent trillions of dollars and created so much debt. So that includes Americans, but I'll be visiting a lot of different places in the Middle East. I've been invited everywhere, but I will be visiting some, yeah. Okay. Let's go. Caitlin, go ahead. Caitlin, go ahead.
On what you were saying there.
Say it, go ahead, please.
Just follow up on what you were saying about the Gaza Strip.
Caitlin, go ahead.
On what you were saying there.
Say it, go ahead, please.
Just follow up on what you were saying about the Gaza Strip, Gaza going to other countries. One, where exactly are you suggesting they should go? And two, are you saying they should return after it's rebuilt? And if not, who do you envision living there?
It's envision world people living there, the world's people.
That
I
was
think-
foggy. I didn't understand. Like, it means, like, I mean, if it is their land, they leave, they have to come back. Unless they sell their own land, like they sell with the full price, like they get all the money already, like not with the payments, like already all at once, so they have money to go live somewhere. And also the place that they are being relocated at should be expense on the country who is replacing them with their own consent. That's the only way that it makes sense. Like it says, hey, is that okay? I buy your land and then I relocate you somewhere else, and then I pay for that place. So I buy you land somewhere else, and then I also pay you for this land that you are living at, and then that's a deal. So you sold it. You don't have ownership. Or I pay for your new home, temporary home. You go there, you live there for 2 years, 3 years, as long as it takes for Gaza to be rebuilt. And then you come back exactly the place that you were. So you can give it for the rent, you can buy the house. But also those people who are investing on that, they say, well, what's the benefit for us? It's not the charity. So you would say, like, hey, I pay for your relocation place. I pay you for the house, living, everything over there, like Jordan, Egypt, whatever it is. And then when you come back, we're going to do it like, I don't know, 80-20. Because I invested on that, I built that, so I get 20% of benefit because it's going to be tourist places.
I think you'll make that into an international, unbelievable place. I think the potential in the Gaza Strip is unbelievable. And I think the entire world, representatives from all over the world will be there, and they'll live there. Palestinians also. Palestinians will live there. Many people will live there. But they've tried the other, and they've tried it for decades and decades and decades. It's not going to work. It didn't work. It will never work. And you have to learn from history. History is, just can't let it keep repeating itself. We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so magnificent. But more importantly than that is the people that have been absolutely destroyed, that live there now, can live in peace in a much better situation because they're living in hell. And those people will now be able to live in peace. We'll make sure that it's done world class. It'll be wonderful for the people. Palestinians mostly we're talking about. And I have a feeling that despite them saying no, I have a feeling that the king in Jordan and that the general president, but that the general in Egypt will open their hearts and will give us the kind of land that we need to get this done. And people can live in harmony and peace. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, man, I guess I gave all my take on that while I was playing it out for you guys. This is what I truly believe. I think I really don't know what I believe at this point. It's so complicated. Like always, for every issue, that always I come up with solution. I say, oh, it is so easy. We have to do this. We have to do that. Like I don't want to brag about that, but so many of the issues that we are seeing in the world that it seems like impossible to be solved. The solution is so easy, just because people from both sides, they are greedy about every matter, every issue, every conflict. Because conflict happens with two. You don't have conflict with yourself. You have conflict with someone else. So there are two sides, or maybe a couple of people. So many sides. Like more than two, multiple sides. But in either way, the solution is so simple, but people want to be greedy, so that's why they don't agree with that. They don't deal with that. But about the Palestine-Israel issue, it's so complicated that after hours and hours and days of studying it, still I cannot come up with a simple solution, because it cannot be resolved. It's like a knot. It's like a slip knot. You know what I'm saying? Like it cannot be unraveled. So it's very complicated. So I don't know, maybe what he's saying is a solution. Maybe we just cannot see it because we are only trying to do whatever we have been saying and it had never happened. So he's thinking outside of the box, say, how about we do something else? Maybe. I'm not positive, but I'm saying maybe. But I know for sure that land belongs to Palestine, and everyone knows that. There's no objection on that. Like at this part, whole world agrees on that. Even Israel agrees, like Gaza belongs to Palestine. Like nobody object that. Very minor people, like minority of people, like how to say, like not even one people who are not even representing their own community. Some few lunatic radicals, like you shouldn't even count them. They say no, it's all our land, blah blah blah. I'm not talking about that. Majority of all group of people from every side in the world, not only Palestine, Israel, they agree like it's Gaza's land. Even President Trump was mentioned. So it means it's their land. If they are being relocated, it should be with their consent. So if they don't want, nobody should force them. Two, the money should be good. It should be good enough that it's worth it. And three, it should be guaranteed. Like if you say, hey, you leave, we pay for your relocation, and then you come back, there should be guaranteed, not promises, because this administration comes, this administration goes. Like, and then you come and say, hey, we deal with who? The previous administration. This is what we did with Iran. Obama made a deal with Iran. Trump said, you deal with Obama, not with me, so we have to re-deal. He said, so every new administration, we have to make a deal. We said, yeah, that's what it is. Which the same thing in Iran as well. It's not like we are doing that. Whole world is doing that. Russia does that. Well, Putin always has been in power. So previous administration, this administration, next administration is all going to be Putin. But even with Zelensky, let's say after Zelensky, someone else come, probably going to change so many policies. That's a wait. Is it Ukraine? So yeah, that was Zelensky, Ukraine. So in Iran it happens. In Saudi Arabia it doesn't happen because always there's one Sheikh Mohammed bin Salman. So yeah, I think there should be some sort of guarantee, something to make sure that no matter what administration comes to the power, they get what they deserve, they get what they deal with. And if that's the case, we could have conversation. But if it is just trust me, bro, trust me, you will come back. No, bro, there is no trust me, bro. So I'm nationalist. My priority is America. I don't want our soldiers go to the Gaza. I support taking Canada and Greenland because there's benefit for that for us, and also it is necessary. But for Gaza, bro, just give it to the Palestinian. Or if you want to invest on that, I'm a capitalist, I understand, like you can invest, but it should be there with their consent. They have to accept that. They have to accept that there should be no force, and they should be guaranteed they get what they are promised. If that's the case, I mean, still, I don't know. Again, so many people are saying like he said that, so people would start to go crazy about that, so he can use his leverage to get what he wants, which is not what he's proposing right now. It's something else. So again, I repeat myself for the third time. For 100, he asked for 110. So with the bargain, he gets 100%. It's interesting time to live at. I just hope nobody dies. The only thing which was crazy before I end this session was President Trump mentioned like 1.7, 1.8 million Palestinians going to be relocated. It used to be 2 million, 2.1 million. So it means 400,000 people have been killed, which almost all of them are women and children. If you just want to understand how crazy is that, how crazy that is Ukrainian soldiers, Ukrainian people, like the number of Ukrainians who have been killed in this war with Russia has been 400,000. But 400,000, that almost all of them, they are soldiers. I mean, it's tragic, it's still they're human. Just because they're soldiers doesn't mean their life worth less than women and children. But I'm saying 400,000 soldiers have been killed in the last 3 years for Ukraine. And you know, like they're saying, oh, Ukrainians are dying, the rate of the death is so high over there. For Palestine in 15 months, and women and children. So how many soldiers have been killed in Ukraine for 3 years? It has been women and children in Gaza in 15 months, almost 1 year, which is unbelievable. Sometimes even I cannot look at it. When I look at the X Twitter, it's too horrific, like horrible, like it's so terrifying. And so I cannot even see it. So I wish peace for everyone over there. And also, I believe in America first, so we have to do something that benefits the world, and of course as an investment benefits us. So I hope it happens, and so I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.